So here we go. We have problems. We have problems. So this is coming from the Pokemon concept artist. And what does she want? Well, she wants anime to end fan service and says the industry needs to be more like Disney and Marvel. What does that mean? Take a wild guess. It means she wants societal issues weaved into the story. Let's roll the intro and talk about it.
Pathetic earthlings! Who can save you now?
Savior of the universe! Strange object imaged in the Imperial Vortex.
So this is a problem. This has actually been kind of creeping up for a while. If you remember the guy who makes Sword Art Online, I never covered it, but I talked about it vaguely here and there because it was important. But he was over in America, and he met with several NPCs. Let's be serious about who he was talking with. And he came back and said, man, I need to change the way I write my female characters. And the influence was done. These people have been trying to change, finger quotes, problematic anime for a long time. We've seen it several times now. My Hero Academia gets attacked all the time. I'm going to do a video on that real soon. I literally have like 7 articles that have been written over time about, we need this and that. We need to change all of this, which I always found really ironic, because these NPCs, they have a big thing about respecting culture. Unless, of course, they don't like it, then that culture needs to change. They're the most hypocritical people in the world. However, they don't like certain elements. Rising of the Shield Hero, that's a perfect example of things they don't like because, a story like that, right, would never see the light of day by an American author. That author would be called ismphobe all day long on Twitter, and the show would get pulled. There was an HBO show about the South winning the Civil War, right? I don't see anything wrong with telling that story. It's not like it really happened. HBO was going to do it. HBO was about, as risque as you can get when it comes to telling stories. I mean, look at Game of Thrones and the way that show rolls out, right? They pulled that show. Now, regardless if you like the idea or not, I like alternate kind of history stories. I think they're pretty interesting, especially if they're told well. Whether or not it would have been good or bad, I don't know. The point is, it was a show that didn't get to happen because of babies on Twitter. That's where it came from. And these NPC people on Twitter, they want to change anime. They've been pushing for it for a long time. I've made several videos on it. A couple other people have. It's kind of like the last bastion of storytelling is Japan. They cannot get around that impenetrable island fortress. They have to change the people from within, like a Trojan horse. They have to send their soldiers in there in a wooden horse so that they can influence the people over there. And they're slowly starting to get that influence over there. As we can see right here with this Pokemon artist, Kiko Motsugo, I'm probably brutalizing that name, I'm sure, has been influenced. And we're going to go over her tweets and some of the people that don't like, or that like what she had to say. Particularly this man right here, who is ecstatic, is ecstatic about the change that she's asking for.
No shit.
So, Kikyo, a Pokemon concept artist and character designer, as well as CG artist for Doromon, took to Twitter to criticize the anime industry and its willingness to service fans. She went on to condemn the fan service seen in much of anime. She also stated that she wished the industry would evolve like Disney and Marvel by interweaving social issues within their products. And just like that, the NPCs on Twitter be like,
thank you. We got one!
because boy, oh boy, did they come out to support her. So let's take a look at what she said, So a proper translation from One Angry Gamer, as they point out here, another very excellent website. And by the way, Bounding into Comics, if you watched my video about their deplatforming, did get their Facebook thing back, which is awesome. So anyway, Disney and Marvel films are in a position where each year they improve their quality because they take actual societal issues and incorporate them into the middle of the script while interweaving them into different criticisms of the world. Japanese animated films are not capable of doing that at this time. That's because they don't want to do it, because many of them understand that it's pretty much like shooting yourself in the foot, and they want to make money, which has been kind of the glowing point when it comes to anime and manga. But then she goes on to criticize erotic fan service because she's saying that it swindles otakai out of their money, and that's how they produce their content in Japan.
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
So, what happened? Well, it did resonate with that growing NPC element trying to influence the Japanese anime industry. Her comment received over 2,500 likes and over 1,000 retweets. That is a big number. And like it or not, as much as we all hate it, Twitter seems to have some kind of massive influence, at least on Western companies. I don't think so much in Japan yet, but it's hard to say. You know, I don't live in Japan. I don't really know anybody that does live in Japan. I don't know how much Twitter sways opinion over there. Over here, companies and businesses, they bend the knee to these people every day. So, you know, this is scary. And you say, oh, well, she's just a concept artist. Remember Mrs. or Miss Sarkeesian? She was a nobody too. And look how much influence she wields now. So it doesn't take much for somebody to become a rising star in this crap and really start to make change. You need to remember that. It doesn't take much for someone to rise up. All it takes is a GoFundMe. And they're off to the horse races, man. So never underestimate the NPC. Never underestimate them. Just like old Oren here, who we looked at that picture of earlier, that's this guy. He says,
Mutsuragi-san, I mostly agree with your assessment of anime these days has declined. I'm sure I agree with following the Disney and Marvel approach would be better. But all the ridiculous fan service and more nonsense needs to go. Ganbatte. So, of course, this man, who I'm guessing is a turbo male feminist, wants to get rid of that fan service. Literally looks like he's going to walk into the Matrix 4. And let's not beat around the bush here. Guarantee you that dude pirates everything. None of these NPC ever pay for things. Besides, that guy's got to buy more leather coats with chains and buttons and stuff all over it, or whatever the hell he was wearing. So she goes back and she doubles down. These days, if you made a movie like Zootopia in Japan, I think people would get all worked up about it online and say things like, K the feminists, and wait, this movie was only made to please minorities, but there's nothing wrong with that happening. This shows that the movie has social relevance. Oh boy. So, there you go. And I had to change the K-I-L-L word there for certain reasons. But she then goes on to say, criticism about jiggling boobies and stuff like that. And she keeps going on and on about it. But there was some clapback here. Somebody says, oh, shut up. Nobody wants to watch anime and be reminded of social problems and crap. All we want to see is big titty girls and robots be blown up with tanks while wearing cat ears. Take your agenda back to America. I 100% agree with that, but she didn't. She got blocked. I don't necessarily, the thing is Gundam, right? You like Gundam? Gundam's full of politics, but Gundam's super entertaining. They do it right. The problem over here in the West with storytelling is these people don't do it right with politics. It's one way or the highway. You don't get both sides. And they sit there and they want to demonize a group of people for the way they want to think. And
literally to tell a story. The difference is that, like in Japan, they're just going to tell the story. The dangerous thing here is when you do these NPC storytelling things, you literally have check boxes that you have to hit. Was this story too controversial? Did this group get more representation than the other group? Like, that stuff brings the story down. You can't just tell the story. You've got to hit all of those check boxes before you can even consider telling what you want to have to them. So, Bound into Comics kind of sums it up pretty good right here. We've seen rumblings of this in January when a number of outlets refused to review Crunchyroll and Kadokawa's The Rising of the Shield Hero. In fact, not only did a number of outlets refuse to review the show, and I've done a video on that, they were like, well, we're not going to do that. We're not going to touch it. Or they gave it bad reviews just based on the fact that it's on false allegations as its plot point. And the producer of the show would address it and say, there is no controversy over here in Japan. We don't worry about Twitter crybabies. But, with people like Riki Kawahara, the guy that's the author of Sword Art Online, says that he wants to bring that PC stuff to his mindset for writing his story. The influences are there, and I wouldn't be surprised if, like I said, that agendas are kind of creeping up in there. You have it right here, and I didn't even go to this thread and go through it. That would be an interesting video in itself to see what people are saying about this, because I would like to see what the Japanese have to say about her opinion, and I might actually do that for another video. But keep in mind, a lot of people say, oh, it's just one person. Well, Sarkeesian was one person. And how did that work out? This person is literally consulting on games. You can pretty much thank her for Mass Effect Andromeda. She was consulting, I heard, for that. If not that game, it was a different game. She's been all over the place, and that's not going to stop anytime soon. Mainstream games are shackled now in a lot of ways. And don't be surprised if this creeps into anime. It's a scary thought, and it's not the kind of world I want to live in, man. So we'll have to keep watching and see how this works. I'm going to go through this thread here and see if I can find some Japanese takes. I'd really like to see that, but keep in mind, I don't think Japan cares yet, but that could change. So anyway, let me know what you think about this crap in the comments. Give me your takes. What do you think? Do you think Japan is unsafe? Do you think that they might be taken over by this? I'd like to hear what you have to say about this. Also, make sure you check out the links in the description if you want to help the channel. Follow me over on Twitch as well. I'm trying to do some game streams over there. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Make sure you're still subscribed since YouTube likes to unsub people. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.